Mike Wisniewski with Materials Exchange here, and I am joined by Stephen Yates of Build Exact. We are at the NRLA Lumber and Building Material Expo, Providence, Rhode Island. It's my first time to Rhode Island. I just found out it's
nice and cold.
Nice and cold. It's the smallest state in the nation.
1.6 million people.
In a small area. I'm very excited to have Stephen with us. He has a product that it's going to matter to basically everyone who's going to be listening on this call. But more than that, it's just an innovative way for builders and lumber dealers, and basically anyone involved in the residential construction process to operate more efficiently. So, Stephen, thanks for joining us. And I apologize if you have a hard time understanding some of the things he says. He talks funny. He was born south of the equator.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so you are the president of North America for Build Exact.
That's right.
What is Build Exact? I'm going to throw the website up.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on, actually. I really appreciate it. So, Build Exact, first and foremost, is a construction management software solution for custom home builders and remodelers.
Okay.
I'm really specific because we're not a product for production builders. There's plenty of technology out there serving production builders and guys at the top end of town.
Okay.
Until Build Exact come along, there was really nobody out there serving the custom home builder and remodeler segment. And when I say that segment, our guys and girls are building about 10 builds a home. 10 builds a year, should I say.
Okay, so 10 home builder. Okay, 10 home a year builder.
So they're journeymen. They're masters of all trades. They need product that they can consume and it's easy for them to use. It can't be too sophisticated, but it's got to do the job for them.
At 10 homes a year, that's a legit business.
That's an enterprise, yeah.
That is an enterprise, but they don't have the scale probably to afford, number one, some of the big software, or just set it up and run it properly. So this has to be something that's really easy to use.
Yeah, no IT department. They got no specialists. They can run down and spend 2 weeks in training to be able to use technology that necessarily doesn't fit with their business either.
All right, so what does it exactly do for them?
Yeah, okay. So we're not construction management software to be developed, right? But what makes us unique is that we understood that it doesn't matter how good your sales team were. If you didn't have high fidelity inputs into your project and into your business at the start, then you were likely to get yourself into trouble. And actually, if you had a really good sales team, you're just going to go broke faster.
Well, there's a very technical term for that. It's called garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, right. So, if a project, someone said to me the other day, if a project looks ugly at the start, it's probably going to look ugly at the end as well.
Okay, so how does Build Exact solve that problem?
Yeah, so our technology, our tech stack focuses on product inputs or project inputs. So we have a takeoff capability unique to the industry to see that the ability to do a takeoff and bill of quantities in a system that gets you all the way through your job management and invoicing. Just doesn't exist. Now, you can get there with modularization and putting multiple UXs together, but in one simple, easy-to-use system, prior to building, it didn't exist for the custom home builder.
So that's estimating, number one.
Estimating, number one, yep. You're predicting the outcome, right? What am I putting into this project? What are the assumptions I have around the project that will lead me to put a quote to a client? And if I win that job, is my risk mitigated? Am I going to end up paying more for this project and these materials than what I quote my client for, or do I really understand what's ahead of me?
Yeah, didn't many builders of that size go by the rule of thumb, this is going to cost me $125 a square foot to build this?
Yeah.
And that's what they estimated, right?
Yeah, right. It's like, hey, this is what it cost last time, or, I remember doing this project. I mean, it's pretty chaotic out there. And as a result, our research tells us average builder is adding 20% to his costs above his margin, just as a risk factor because of the poor quality of information he's got in his project when he's actually got to go out there and win the job.
It's actually 20% over his kind of close cost.
There you go, right? And then because he's not managing his project, he eats that 20% as well as the rest of the margin.
All right, so out of the gates, we're changing from this square foot model. It's going to cost me that to this is what it's really going to cost.
Yep.
and then because you've done that work up front, it's easier to manage.
That's right. So you got predictability. Every day you're going to open up your Build Exact, and you're going to see where your actuals are against your estimates on a 4-hour basis. You look at that and say, oh, this is how I'm tracking. And the project will keep you informed. Every decision you make across that project is going to be updated inside of your system. So the probability that you're going to complete a job on time and on budget, much greater if you're using a tool like Build Exact.
And you probably can hone in on, that particular material didn't turn out so well.
Yeah.
Or that style didn't turn out so well.
Yeah, you can see, right? I guarantee you every builder out there has biases, right? So they will see that if they look back over those 10 projects, wow, they continually, against this product category, underestimate.
Right.
One of the trades continually underestimated. So the project can flag that for you. It'll give you a big red sign saying, hey, you are underestimating. It's a practice, it's a bias you have, and it gives you opportunity to correct for that with the next jobs. Eventually, you clean up the processes and become much more effective building.
Got it. Okay, so the problem you're solving is visibility.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
ease of tracking, visibility, and then the one thing we were talking yesterday, I think it's important, and I was surprised by it. It's the number of wins or projects that what would you call it?
A quote to award, right?
Quote to award.
Yeah.
And
so last month, our builders run through just shy of $3 billion worth of estimate value in the program.
Okay.
It's a huge quantity of building materials. They were awarded 23%.
Okay.
Almost 1/4 of all estimates, they actually won the jobs.
Got it.
Our understanding is that the industry average is just shy of 13%. So a builder using Build Exact has got a 10% advantage, one way to look at it, almost double the advantage of someone not using Build Exact in winning the job. Now, it's not brain surgery. Why is that happening, right? One is they've got visibility, so the costs are more accurate. Two, the quality of the presentation of their proposals to their clients is more professional than most. And as we know, dealer or builder, first quote in the door, professionally provided, with all the information you need to make a decision, you've got a high probability you're going to get the job.
Absolutely. The one awarding the job feels more comfortable. You're handing them something that looks...
You've been responsive, you've covered everything, it's professionally presented, I can make a decision you want me to make. And
estimating is not cheap.
No.
So if you're spending lots of time estimating and not much time building, you're not making money.
No, we got clients doing 60 estimates a month. You know, when you start taking that time in your business, these guys and girls are doing this at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. They're doing it Saturday morning when they should be with their kids.
Right.
Because the old methods are so consuming. Our builders are telling us they're saving 80% of the time that it used to take them to do an estimate.
Sure.
So they got more fidelity and they've got time back for their family.
And you can't put a price on time.
No.
That's
as Mark Twain said, right? You know.
So now the question is, why are you at the lumber dealer show?
All right.
And I'm going to flip to a different spot on your website where it says Pro Dealers, and I think this is really interesting.
Yeah. So here's the twist in the tail.
Right? Okay. The twist in the tail.
So it's a great software product. It gives you these tools, but you still have to have input, right? You still have to have, where did the pricing come from? Where does the inventory come from? There's a lot of friction between the builder and the supplier and the supply chain. How do they know what's available, when it's available? The old school way is pretty messy. Lots of phone calls, lots of callbacks, lots of emails. We actually integrate.
And you're trying to talk during the business hours, which when you should you should be building.
Yep.
I mean, how do you get in touch with your lumber dealer 9 o'clock at night on a Friday?
Right, not going to happen, right? So we actually have what's an API integration, advanced programming interfaces. Technology allows Build Exact to talk to the ERP system that the dealers are using.
Okay, got it.
And that means that at 10 o'clock at night, the builder's doing his quotes to his customers. He's pulling real-time pricing out of the inventory system of his supplier.
Makes sense.
100% accurate, 100% fidelity in terms of he knows he's buying the right product, the right specification, at the right price, and he's doing it 24/7, and he can move at the velocity that he wants to move at, or she wants to move at.
So I'm going to do the Shane plug for Materials Exchange. If the lumber dealer is getting real-time prices from a digital market like Materials Exchange into a sophisticated ERP system that communicates with your platform, it's all of we're taking technology and allowing the people involved in each process to do what they do best, which is home builders build homes, lumber dealers distribute product, and we're a technology company. So everybody works on what they do and let the technology handle the mundane data transfer.
Well, the technology can handle all those low value tasks, the noise in the relationships, right? I think the big shift that we're all experiencing is technology used to be considered, how do I solve my problems? Right? Somebody come to me and get a software or a solution provider and say, how do I solve my organization's problem? But I'm a silo in a supply vertical. Right? I'm one piece.
Correct.
The homeowner's a piece, is a part. The builder's a part. The dealer's a part, and the supplier's a part. And each node in that network has a different set of languages. The innovation that we're seeing now is actually the technology is allowing each one of those individual players to speak to each other with less friction, so they can move faster with more accuracy.
Yeah, it only makes sense. Like I talk about the telephone game, which actually still happens, but you put 10 people in a circle, the message is not going to go all the way through. Yeah. But if it's digital, not a problem.
Yeah.
With easy speed.
It's really powerful. And some extraordinary behavioral changes happen here. I mean, we're here to talk to the dealers about the dealers standing up this product for their sales team to be able to work with their customers. Conversation just a few minutes ago where a dealer's saying, well, does this mean that my account managers my OSRs are going to be able to handle more accounts? So absolutely. So the average dealer here is maybe account managing 10% of their account portfolio.
Right.
They've got a big tail that they're not servicing at all just because they haven't got an efficient way to communicate with them. Way local.
Yep.
Buildings out.
Now, there's also the opportunity, which we see this segment growing, is the lumber dealer doing installed sales.
Yes.
And taking on some of that subcontractor role. So they need to be able to estimate anyway. So now if they're integrated into your software, they can actually use some of this software to help them estimate.
At the Lumberman Association of Texas conference this year, Greg Brooks was the keynote speaker, and he said fairly provocatively, any of you guys that got lumberyard in your name should just take it out, because you're not in the lumber business, you're in the construction services business.
Yeah. That's true.
And that conversation is going on. The dealers are having a conversation and asking questions. How can I service orient my business? How can I actually be solving my customers' pain points in a value-added way? And so this technology is very much enabling them to do that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And going back to the construction services idea that Greg Brooks talked about, we have to think how the house has changed. And I'm talking like in the last 2 years. The home office used to be that little desk that was just off the kitchen, that collected the mail. Well, not anymore. Now there's legit home offices, and technology needs inside the home. How are we wiring this up? And I think if you're relying on old school methods, you're not being accurate, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I think it should also be said there's a tremendous amount of opportunity out there to look at growing the markets by really looking at those changes. And it's not just change in what's happening inside home design. The NAHB were out this morning to say 25% of all new homes that were built in this country in the last 12 months were actually infill projects. So,
well, what does that mean?
That means it's not greenfields development. It means that actually, rather than production builders doing greenfields on open space, the new construction, the real population of new housing is being built in infill environments. What does that mean? That means that the custom home builder and remodeler, who are more apt to be able to service those infill markets, are becoming more and more important.
Of course, yeah.
So the Pro Dealer's customer segment's changing as well. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
So, what do you see moving forward? I mean, obviously, in this industry, Materials Exchange and Build Exact and some of the ERP systems, we're the cutting edge. What do you see next down the pipeline that Build Exact is going to move into?
Well, I think you alluded to it a little bit with really examining what a house is. I think a home is not a static deliverable that is at the end of the project. You get a certificate of occupancy, you hand over the keys, and you're done. I think a home is transitioning our idea of what a home is to a system, to a living system.
Correct. Yeah.
That requires attention over time.
Right.
So there's a whole new relationship to that, and the builders and the remodelers are understanding that, and that's bringing in the idea of resiliency, green construction, all of these things that look at an environment, a built environment, as a dynamic system that is to be managed. Yes. And of course, there's plenty of revenue opportunities when you begin to just think about that for a moment, about what that means, your relationship to a home over its life cycle. And as you go down the supply chain, you say, wow, in order to be a part of that, I have to move my service proposition forward into actually empowering my customers to be more effective in providing a new type of service than they would before.
It's interesting that you say a system. One of the technology talks here was talking about the speed of change, and it's just constantly increasing. I look at the systems inside a house, your HVAC system, your electrical system, your plumbing. As we move forward, we're coming into the next generation of the digital age, which is things communicating with each other. 5G technology. We're actually going to have an HVAC system that has nodes inside of it that talk to each other. And if you design and build a house in such a way that you can change that system or adapt that system to the next greatest technology that comes out, it's going to be important.
And there's a lot of innovation happening in the manufacturing space for this as well, right? And there's a bit of a continuum in there around modular homes, offsite housing, all of these things. And we tend to see them presented to them as a them and us, or an either-or situation, and they're not. We're going to see a convergence of these ideas.
Oh, for sure.
Where there are going to be components that are built off-site, full build systems that come in and connect into an on-site build. All of these things are going to, as most things in life, it's going to be more grey and less clean than we think. It's not going to be either-or. We've got printed homes in the Austin area where our office is a lot going, but it's not fully that. It also has on-site construction. And so when you look at the supply chain, dealers, manufacturers, builders, they're all going to be able to have a quality conversation with each other to make sure that change is managed, that it doesn't happen around them.
Absolutely. Got to keep your eyes open and your mind open to new technologies and new opportunities. If someone wants to find you guys, then I'm sure buildexact.com.
Yeah, they'll get there. Absolutely. The product's a cloud-based product. It's pretty. They get there and they can book a demo right on there. It's an easy-to-use product. Once they book a demo, as you would expect these days, our sales team will know that they've done that.
Yep.
They'll contact them and offer any help that they can offer.
And I can only encourage everyone to check this out. It may not be for them, but it's important to know what's available and what's out there. And this is leading edge. This is thought leadership. Why we have this call in the first place. So, what is anything jumped out at you at the show that you've seen, or maybe things that jumped out at you that you're not seeing? What?
Look, I think for me, being in this industry, seeing the conversation mature, and it's maturing very quickly.
Yes.
A lovely gentleman is actually introducing this program to his dealer enterprise, and he said, "This is the way that it's going, and I don't want to be behind this."
Yep.
A tremendous leap of faith, and we recognise that. I think it's the right attitude. As I say, we're not going to think that this is prescriptive for everybody, but it's worth a look into people to say, does this fit with our model of how we're going to be in the construction services industry going forward?
I can't agree more about it's a different conversation today than it was 2 years ago, than it was 3-4 years ago. people understand that this COVID deal, where it's remote work and just being forced into new ways of doing your day-to-day operations, has opened their minds. It's not so bad.
Yep.
Change isn't so bad.
Yep.
So excellent. I encourage you check out Build Exact, and we're going to sign off. We'll be back next week live, but I need to get back to Chicago first. So tomorrow's a travel day for me. Everyone, take care, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome.